All right, hey, it's Michelle Spiva, and I am coming to you with day number 6 of my Leader of One project preparation month. And I just really kind of want to give you guys an update coming in on day number 6. Taking an account of what I've gotten done, I actually have gotten quite a bit done. One of the biggest things was being able to get organized on some of the things that I'm not going to do based on doing what I don't want, knowing what I don't want. That was one of the big things. And hey, Marie. So today, I am talking about strategic implementation. Now, I need probably longer than now. I'll see how it goes because, I don't like to make these too long. So I'm going to see how this goes. But I actually had to make some notes to tell you because, there's one thing for me to do it. It's another thing for me to share it with someone. And remember, we're all about being able to simplify our story for ourselves and then be able to tell you simply what I'm doing. So simply what I'm doing now that I have done my simplification stuff, I'm actually gearing up for next week. By starting to look at implementation. So right now I'm still working on doing my one and some. I'm still working on making sure that I'm really certain about my reasons and my whys. I've really been continuing to work on my Kaizen, one things like I had an accountability partner laughing last night because I was telling her how I was like, I just don't even want to go to the bathroom anymore today because every time I went, I did 12 squats, 1 minute of planks, and then every other time I went, I swung my kettlebell 25 times. So that ended up with me getting 75 kettlebell swings. I got 6 minutes of planks, and I got 72 squats in, and that was me going to the bathroom. I drink a lot of water. I know. And today I've already, I've been continuing to do that. So today I'm feeling a little sore, but not as much, but just getting it back on little things like that. And that is because in the background, I know that it is time for me to go beyond where I was. I just want to take a quick moment here to just stress that once you've accomplished a goal, that does not mean it's the end of it. What it means is that now you have to make a new energy to keep going and to get more results. So for instance, if you are attempting to start working on your health, once you hit your goal or get close to your goal, doing the same old or returning to what you used to do is not going to work. You have to do something different. So for me, it is not lowering my calories or any of that kind of stuff because I eat pretty healthy now. For me, it is being more mindful to move my body and to give my body oxygen through proper breathing techniques that I do during my morning meditations, moving my body to work on anaerobic as well as aerobic activity, cardio and, weights, stability, kinds of things like planks, doing squats and those types of things. And so, like I said before, new level, new devil. And so the energy that you take to get somewhere is not the energy that you're going to take that's going to be required to remain there or even to get to the next level. So you got to kind of be looking like that. I had somebody ask me about my keto, and what I will say is that I have noticed that I naturally started doing this, but between months 7 and 9, I started changing up what I was eating, and I know I'm doing that again now, and so I'm starting to look at more body wisdom and more stuff that I need to do to continue to move forward. Hey, Derek, how you doing? And just saw you coming into NINC as a new member, so congratulations on that. Welcome as another NINC member. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about strategic implementation. And like I said, I made some notes because now I'm not going to pretend like I've never done this before, but this is what I do when I am ready to implement. So yesterday I talked about activate execution, and that is a quick burst using like 5 the 5-second rule of 4, 3, 2, 1, and calling your name and saying go and just doing stuff. And that was to get you used to burst of energy, to overcome the monotony, the inertia, to overcome stagnation so that you can get going. But there is a difference between getting going and then actually doing things that are strategic, that are going to help you. Now, I'm going to say now, in the implementation phase, and this is just the structure for it. This is not the actual implementing. We're going to be doing that this whole month. But the implementation phase is where you bring in structure. And this is so that, and I love this, because the goal when you implement is to have self-efficacy, meaning that you are self-efficient and effective to do what you have said you were going to do and to do what is required of you. Okay, so let me talk about these. So there are some ingredients that you have to have or consider having when you're going to have a strategic implementation of anything. Have you ever said, I'm going to do something, and then you sit there and it seems like it is huge? Well, what we have been doing from day one up to now, it's been helping you to get organized. So like when I shared the brain dump, and I've gotten a lot of you who have given me feedback about how the brain dump and then identifying what you don't want as opposed to what you do want really helped you to start to prioritize. Then when we moved over to looking at reasons and whys for why you have this on your list, and if the reason is not good enough or the reasoning is not logical, it has to go to the bottom. And then if you can't articulate a clear why outside of making somebody else happy or something that's cuckoo, like because people expected of you or something like that, it went to the bottom or it went bye-bye. So I am so grateful for the feedback that you guys said that has really helped you. So we actually were kind of doing one of the first things when you're going to strategically implement something, and that is to get clear and to get simple. So now that we have clarity and we have simplified, meaning that we have defined our goal where we can articulate it to ourselves in a simple, quick process, and we can articulate it to others through the meaning and the vision of why. And it makes logical sense. Remember, we did the whys, the reasons and the whys. We have that. So now we're going to be moving into these things. And this is stuff that I'm going to ask you to write out if you can and work on it. And that is your commitment. There is a scripture from the Bible, that says, that a man needs to count up the cost to be wise before setting out to do a big project. And that's the same thing for us. A lot of times people have these grand ideas and they don't count up the cost. And what that means is you don't have enough resources, fortitude, or whatever you need to be able to finish something. And I'm going to tell you, it is not if, but it is when you get out into the middle of the ocean of what you said you were going to do, whether it's writing a book or building your business or losing weight or developing a relationship, whatever it is, there is going to become a time where there are no bumper guards, there is no shore, there is no one out there but you, and you have got to keep swimming, keep going. And so that is where commitment comes in. A lot of people don't realize that this is part of your strategy of being able to implement stuff. If you implement things when you only have an interest in it, when you lose interest, so does the grace to do what you said you were going to do. I have people approach me about, keto eating lifestyle, and I try to discourage everyone. Don't do it. It's not for you. Because if you just have an interest in keto, if you're just trying to lose weight, keto is really not for you. But if you are committed to your health and to finding a way to break the addiction of sugar, then keto might be for you. See, I have found in my personal grapplings with it that I had to admit that I was a sugar addict, and that just like any kind of addict, I can't have a little bit of heroin. I can't have a little bit of crack. So for me, there is no, I'm going to negotiate. I'm going to just, I'm not going to eat starches and I'm not going to eat flour. but I'm still going to have my sugar in my tea or whatever. You can't do that. It has to be kind of like an all or nothing. So with a commitment, it has to be an all or nothing, that you're going to commit to doing what you said you were going to do. And so with that, I want you to understand that when we are looking at strategically implementing anything, that the next thing that you need to be looking at is your concentration. Now, Dr. Anders Ericsson, he is a researcher of expertise and all of that kind of stuff, and he had a book out called Peak, and it's the new science of studying experts. You can get his book, but he talks about deliberate practice, and a lot of people are familiar with the concept of deliberate practice. And just for quick sake, deliberate practice means that you need to have what he calls a mental representation. You need to have practice, and you need to get feedback to make sure that your practice is valid and it continues to grow. In layman's terms, what he is saying is you need to have a vision for what you want, and where you're going, where your endpoint is. You need to have some accountability to give you honest feedback to make sure that that what you're doing is going to realistically help you get there. So with that falls under concentration. Somebody asked someone recently, are there any good ways to get concentration? Are there any tools or apps or whatever? And I quickly just responded, no. The way to concentration is through practice. You have to just do it. It's just like your health. You can't outsource health. You can't outsource concentration. And it's not you either have it or you don't. Concentration is a muscle that you always have to be building and strengthening. So with that, practice feedback. And this is another thing that I want to say, and that is you have to incorporate speed. I know concentration, hey David, concentration might look like it is, but no, speed is part of concentration. How is speed part of concentration? Speed is when you get organized, when you use things like mind maps, decision trees, or even index cards. And the reason why you want to do that is because if you're going to be concentrated, you need to strip out all of the possibilities for brain scatter and for running all around trying to figure out what you're doing. And so when you start to concentrate, get organized. And to get organized means you are inputting the necessary component of speed to be able to do that, because concentration is really hard when you meandering and wandering around. So I'm going to recap what I've said already on these strategies, because I got two more after this. I've got clarify. We already started doing that this week. To clarify is to simplify, to get a simple understanding of the simple steps you're going to do for what you want to get done. Meaning 9 times out of 10, you're not going to try to do a lot of stuff, maybe 2 or 3 at the most. And you're going to be able to do that by understanding your reasons and your whys. Your reasons have to make sense. Your whys have to be strong enough and make it where you get a benefit out of it. And then commitment. You can't just be interested. You have to be committed. You got to be all or none. You got to know that you need to have enough resources to finish what you start. You cannot give up in the middle of the ocean. You will drown. So you have got to count up the costs and make sure that you have what you think you need for resources. Now I'm going to tell you, life has a way of throwing a wrench in every best laid plan, but at least you know that you've got to keep swimming. And so after clarifying and getting committed, then you have to have concentration. And concentration means when you have gotten a singular vision of what it means to have succeeded at this, because you cannot have something until you become it. And to be, to be something is to have a vision, a strongly attached vision to what it looks like to have achieved what you want. When I'm writing books, I don't really start writing that book until I can start to feel the heft of it in my hands in a tangible format. That means that it has already been published and I have already ordered it and gotten it back and it's in my hands. And then I start walking towards that vision. So I know I can't give up because that book exists somewhere. And this Michelle has got to get to that Michelle because it's real now. Okay, so you got the vision. Now we're still under concentration. Concentration is also where you're going to be getting practice. You're going to have accountability for feedback, and that kind of moves into the next thing as well. And speed. Remember, we want to be organized in our concentration so that we can continue to build concentration, because it's hard to concentrate and you're not getting victories. And the way you get victories is to stay organized, to contain what you're doing. Don't let it creep out to where it has no potency for forward movement. And you can do that by, if depending on what you're doing, you can do that by doing mind maps, decision trees, or, index cards. And then the next thing is consistency. Now, I'm going to tell you, the ingredient here, consistency, is the make or break for implementing anything. There are a lot of people who were very clear on what they wanted. They really wanted it through commitment, and they were able to concentrate. And they concentrated for 10, 20, 30 years, and they never implemented anything. And it was because they couldn't be consistent to build increasingly better practice. See, your practice should be not just a habit. It should not just be a routine. It should become a ritual. In my world, the difference between a routine and a routine is a habit that you do. A ritual is a habit with purpose, meaning, and why. And so you should have a meaning and a strong why. That's why we looked at reasons and whys in our clarification point, to be able to be consistent. And consistent means that you are always striving for the best way to do something. Okay. And then scheduling. When you're consistent, you got to schedule stuff. And at first you're going to need to schedule it so that you will make sure you do it. What doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. So schedule it. And make sure that you take accountability and feedback seriously. Okay. So that's all under consistency. I could put diligence in there as well, to be diligent, to show up and ready to work. But I think most of us know that. And then the last part is completion. One of the hardest things for a lot of people to do is to just finish. I spend more time when I'm working with students and clients. I spend more time sometimes getting them to publish a book than I do getting them to write the book. You must complete. If you start something and you said, I'm going to do this, don't get to the 11th hour and then just go and do something else. Complete what you start. Finish it. Close the loop. Trust me, it'll be nagging in the back of your mind for the rest of your days, seeping out energy that you don't need. So what does this look like for me? This looks like right now, I have got some books that I'm doing. I've got some projects that I'm finishing up, and I've got some new endeavors that I'm doing personally. So for me, one of my quick things, because I want to get better at doing this. I want to get better at talking with you, presenting, and using this part of my gifting. So I went and I started taking some acting classes. Yeah, don't judge me. Don't judge me. And so I started that this week, and I'm really excited about them. I'm learning a lot already. And so I did that as part of my speed and activation, to start activating stuff I said I've been, wanting to do for a while. And so just by doing that, I feel like, yes, this is going to happen. I am going to get this done. Because when you get those little wins, they propel you forward. Okay, so this is getting long, and I have covered what I wanted to, but I'm going to do just a quick recap and then let you go. But for now, what we need to be doing is we need to be strategically setting up our implementation. And the 5 things that I want to talk about is clarify. That's what we've all been doing this week. We've been simplifying. We've been getting all the extemporaneous stuff that doesn't matter out the way. We've been figuring out what is priority, meaning the stuff we need to get out of the way so we can concentrate on the bigger things. We've been getting a defined goal and being able to simplify back to ourselves what the process is going to be, and being able to have a concrete, logical reason and why we're doing it for when we talk to others about it. So we've been clarifying. Then we're moving into starting to get together our commitment, and that is counting up the costs, being able to understand that you can't just be interested. You got to be totally committed. You got to be in it to win it. For this, and you got to see it to the end. Then after that, we're working on concentration. We're going to be developing, I hope you're going to start to develop a clear vision of what it looks like when you have completed, when you have accomplished, when you have successfully implemented your plan. What does that look like? What do you look like? What does the world look like? What have you produced? All those things matter. Getting that in your mind and making sure that in concentration, you're looking at what it means to practice, because practice is not just activity. Practice is deliberate, meaning that you keep that vision, meaning that you get good feedback, and that you have a ritual of doing it that moves us into consistency, where consistency is the ritual of your practice, where you schedule it and where you take the accountability and feedback that you get very seriously. And then we finish what we start, so that we don't do all this stuff and then just say, because it's not necessarily that you can't finish. There are sometimes people just lose interest. And I know that has happened to me. Even if you lose interest, you committed to this, and commitment supersedes, usurps, overturns interest. So you said you were committed, finish what you commit to do. All right. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for sticking around. I know this one went a little long, but thanks so much. And, in the description, I have how you can join the group, because there is a group of us being accountable to each other, telling each other what we're doing, what we're committed to doing. I'm actually going to be doing a live stream just for them tomorrow, where they can ask me questions and we can work on some of the projects that they've got going on. So if you're in the group, make sure you check that out. I did send out an invite to people from the group. And for those of you, bless your darling hearts, who like what I'm doing and want to just support what I'm doing, there is a Patreon link where you can subscribe. You can give as little as $1 or whatever. And so that would be a part of you being able to support this and plant good seed into your own life. All right. So I will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much. And I said soon, I'm going to see you tomorrow. All right. Thanks. Bye.